All right, everybody, hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. We're talking Eagles-Giants coming up next.
Oh, my God! I'm embarrassed! You're flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time.
Welcome in, everybody. This is the Sports Hounds, exclusively on A2DRadio.com. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Make sure you turn those notifications on. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Don't miss anything here as we inch closer and closer to Super Bowl. What is it, 50? Super Bowl
53?
what? 53 this year?
It started in
right?
66, so no, it's more than that.
It's
Started
57?
68. 67 it started, so it's got to be 56 then.
Super Bowl 56. Yes. All right, we got a big show tonight. We have a big wild card weekend. We got NFC East showdown Saturday night in South Philly. Brad's Giants versus my Eagles. We'll talk about that. We got the hated Dallas Cowboys taking on, I guess, relatively speaking, hated Tom Brady. Not tonight here in Philadelphia. Wouldn't you say that though?
I don't know about you. I'm rooting for the Bucks. I can't root for the Cowboys under any circumstances. I can't stand that team.
Don't you think Tom Brady has more detractors than praisers, I guess?
No, I want the Cowboys to go 0-8 against Tom Brady. And
me too.
Another
but
thing.
I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, would you say Tom Brady has more detractors or fans?
Oh, I think you know what? I think everybody loves to hate him, but I mean nobody doubts his greatness. Yeah, we just root against him because he wins all the time.
So this is going to be an interesting one. The Bucks stink. They absolutely stink. But
they did beat the Cowboys. They beat the Cowboys 19-3 on opening night, though.
They did, and the Cowboys.
Their defense throttled the Cowboys.
The Cowboys stink on the road. Dak's a turnover machine, and they always stub their toe in these big spots. So it's going to be an interesting super wild card game here on Monday night. We'll live react. I took the Bucks. I don't know.
I would take the Bucks too. Look, bottom line, and I said this about Kirk Cousins. Remember, Rob, about what big game has Kirk Cousins ever won? He had the one lucky game in New Orleans when he actually threw a 50-yard bomb and it was caught. Okay, but he's had 4 shots in the playoffs and he's lost 3. Dak has won 1 playoff game in how many years has he been in the league now?
5, 6.
5, 6. I mean, the Cowboys are in the playoffs almost every year. So what is he, like 1-3, 1-4, something like that?
Yeah, he's 1-3.
Yeah, okay. And against Brady, one thing about Brady, Brady's going to play better in the playoffs than he did in the regular season, because that's just what he does.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in Week 15 against Carolina, where he had by far his best game of the season, and really a de facto playoff game to crown the NFC South champion.
I mean, is it a shame that an 8-9 team has home field advantage over a team that was
I'm sick of that argument. I'm sick of that argument because you know what? It happens once, maybe every 4 or 5 years, where a stinky team hosts a playoff game. Well, what can you do?
Kind of hate. You hate to see it, but you know what? That's the way it goes. Win your division.
Solution? What's the solution, though?
There is no solution. Win your division. That's
right.
That's
win
the solution.
More than
Win your division, and then you don't have to worry about it. You come in second, and you're a wild card team. That's life. That's the way it goes. And they're going to be. Dallas is going to be up against it. They have their. It seems like they've had their house of horrors every year in the playoffs. They invent new ways to lose. Last year, of course, Dak with the quarterback draw with no timeouts and 14 seconds to go. you know, I think that play, that may have been the dumbest play I've ever seen until yesterday when I saw two plays that the Minnesota Vikings made against the Giants.
The immaculate check down.
Well, that one, and how about 3rd and 1, and you're basically running the ball down the Giants' throat, and they decide it's time for a flea flicker. And the Giants were all over it, and they lost like 5 yards and ended up having to punt. So you can't do stuff like that. I mean, their coach is pretty stupid. To put it mildly, that was very poor coaching on his part. I mean, I don't get that at all.
All right, don't forget we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, and Instagram. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us wherever you get your podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Each and every Monday, the Sports Hounds are brought to you by Baguio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio, 10% off your in-store purchase. Obviously, your local area, Mount Laurel, you're going to have a get-together Saturday night for the game. Go have a Baguio's Bread. Hook you up. We're also brought to you by Creative Window Design, serving New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Florida. Fully authorized Hunter Douglas dealer. Contact Jeff 609-226-0391 for a free consultation. All right, so Brad, this is it. This is why we do this kind of stuff between me and you. New York versus Philly, NFC East, Saturday night. It's going down. Giants are playing really well. The Eagles were playing really well. Now they got some injuries. Everything looks okay on the surface, but let's get to our poll question of the night. Our poll question is brought to you by Alan Foy of eXp Realty. Looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change in career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy of eXp Realty, 302-682-8820. There's his there's his email address. There's his phone number right there. Give him a call. Tell him the Hound sent you. Tell him A2D Radio sent you. Let's get into our poll question tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles will defeat the New York Giants by more than 10 points. The opening spread, 7.5. Brad, I just think this is too much. I think 10 points is a lot. I think 7.5 points is too lot. This is going to be a dogfight Saturday night. This is going to be an absolute NFC East dogfight. Brian Daboll, now this is going to upset a lot of people here in Philadelphia, but Brian Daboll's a better coach than Nick Sirianni is right now. Sorry, that's the truth. That's the facts of the matter. That's all I speak here on ATD Radio is facts. Brian Daboll has it going on. He's absolutely fantastic up there in New York. He's got Daniel Jones, who I don't know if he's that great. He's certainly come a long way under Brian Daboll, but he's playing well. Barkley's playing well. That defense is finally healthy. Brian Daboll's going to have his boys ready to go. I think we talked about it before, Brad. I think the Giants are going to have a turnover or two, a couple goofy bounces go their way to actually win this football game. But
absolutely. No, they need. Listen, they need to play a perfect game, and B, they're going to need like a pick six or a punt return for a touchdown or a kickoff return or something bizarre. They're going to need something bizarre to win this game. I think even if they don't get something bizarre, I think they can play with the Eagles. I think they're going to give the Eagles one hell of a fight. But it's going to be tough. This team is a very young team. They were able to make the playoffs. They get a playoff win, and that's great. They've exceeded expectations by a mile. Nobody ever expected them to be in this position, but this is a tough spot. I mean, the Eagles have the best record in the league for a reason, and they're going to have to go in on the road in front of one of the nastiest crowds you're ever going to see and try to win this game. Unless Jalen Hurts is not completely healthy, I don't know how how they're going to find a way to win the game. As I said, something weird has to happen in order for I think it's more or less the Eagles are going to have to beat themselves, and if that happens, the Giants could possibly win the game. But the Eagles are going to have to do some, uh, bizarre things. They're going to have to, if they start turning the ball over, if they start making mistakes, if their coach makes ridiculous coaching calls offensively, or something along those lines, or one of the players in the Eagles just isn't playing well, and Dable finds the hole in their defense. Maybe they can win the game, but it's going to be hard. I mean, the Eagles have right now a championship level team, and it's not easy to go into that kind of an atmosphere and do that. I mean, last year they were 4-13. Not, they've taken a big step forward. I don't know that they're quite ready to get that far this year. Maybe next year. With an off season to get a little bit more talent. They don't. The Giants have to play a certain way. Okay, that's the whole thing. They're going to have to play a certain way offensively to win this game. They don't have that receiver that is going to beat you down the field. They have to have methodical long drives, and it's not easy to do that, especially on the road. And we'll see if there's we'll see what the weather's like too. That could end up being a factor as well. I think the worse the weather, the better it is for the Giants, to be honest with you.
Worse the weather is, better it is for the Giants.
Yeah, I think so. Because then you take away a little bit of that passing game for the Eagles, and then you make it mano and mano with the running game. And the Giants, Saquon Barkley is probably better than any of the running backs the Eagles have. But the Eagles, as a whole, Saquon can't run it every time. They're a little deeper on the running back position. So again, you want to see what happens if Miles Sanders starts fumbling the ball. That's something that I guess you can watch and hope happens if you're a Giant fan.
I'll tell you right now, if they lose this football game because Miles Sanders, probably my least favorite Eagle on the whole team, fumbles the football, I'm going to freak out.
I mean, that's what stuff like that.
That's
really
what the Giants need. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's what they're going to need. They're going to need the Eagles to make mistakes. If the Eagles play mistake-free football, the Giants aren't going to win. They just don't have enough talent around the team to do that.
Yeah, and I
Not
don't
at this point.
I don't agree with you at all about the weather. A slot fest would totally favor the Eagles. They have a better offensive line. They're better in the trenches. They're just a better team.
They are, but again, the Giants have the running quarterback just like the Eagles do. So that's something that keeps things balanced.
If Jalen Hurts is diminished because of the weather, then what's Daniel Jones going to be diminished to?
Daniel Jones could be diminished if he starts getting hit a lot. I mean, that's going to be the key. If the Eagles if he's under siege the whole game, then obviously that's going to be a problem. And it is very important for the Giants to be able to run the football and run it effectively. And they're going to need the Giants are going to need to have long drives, keep the possessions down to a minimum. Make sure the Eagles don't get more than like 8 or 9 possessions in this game.
The Giants want this game to go under.
Yeah, of course they do. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the Giants had an 11-minute drive yesterday, to keep the Vikings offense off the field. Now they only got a field goal, but the bottom line is they had that long drive, and in the fourth quarter, maybe the Vikings were a little tired and defensively, and that maybe had contributed to the Giants being able to march the ball down the field after the game was tied and get that go-ahead touchdown.
Over-under opened at 48, which strikes me as high.
That's pretty high.
What was it, 31-24?
That's 55.
That's 55. It's also in a dome, and the
right
Vikings defense is marshmallow.
The Vikings,
nerf ball defense.
Yeah, they're not they don't have a great defense at all.
So I mean, this is going to be a dogfight. This is not going to be I would be really surprised if this game's a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be any surprises here. That's for sure. You know that. Okay, I don't think you're going to get like a San Francisco 49ers Seahawks game. I don't think you're going to get that kind of a game. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. You know, you're going to see pushing and shoving probably on almost every play. It's going to be nasty. Chippy. Yeah, it's going to be nasty, and you know that's what happens when two divisional teams play. This is the third time they're playing this season. They play each other twice a year. There are no surprises here. The Giants know exactly what the Eagles are going to do. The Eagles know exactly what the Giants are going to do. So it's not like there's going to be any surprises here. It's going to be whoever executes. And again, the Giants have got to win the turnover battle. And not by one. They're going to have to like create maybe 3 turnovers to them having one in order to win the game. That's what's going to happen. If the turnovers are even, or even if the Giants are +1, I don't think that's enough. I just don't. You know, the Eagles are gonna come out hot and heavy. The key for the Giants is to keep it close at halftime and then hang around and try to steal it at the end. That's going to be what they're going to have to do. You know, it's a lot like basketball. Same kind of situation. Hang around and then try to steal it at the end.
All right, let's get to some comments here. Comments brought to you by Aria Public Adjusting. Don't fight your homeowners insurance alone. Contact Aria Public Adjusting. Tell them the Hound sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Rosca, he's in the house. He's pissed off about the Los Angeles Chargers. That Brandon Staley is just the worst. He's the
horrible.
Worst.
He's horrible.
He can't have a job.
Now, has Sean Payton been called yet?
We sort of touched on it last week about Sean Payton, and now it's just so obvious. Like, put Payton with Herbert, give the Saints a couple of draft picks, and get Brandon Staley out of there. I mean,
yeah, he's terrible.
Look,
you imagine how good Herbert's going to be. Is going to be if he had Payton as a coach. I mean, we saw what good coaching does for quarterbacks with the Giants. Herbert is already an elite level quarterback. He just, you know, a guy like Sean Payton would be just really the cherry on the pie.
Look,
as far as that's concerned.
The best way to lose big games in the NFL is to kick field goals and not get touchdowns, which the Chargers didn't get enough touchdowns, even though they were up 27-0. Too many field goals.
It should have been 35-0.
So too many field goals, and they just came out and took their foot off the gas in the second half.
Yeah, and their defense, by the way, was pathetic.
You know, they phase out Eckler. The defense, just no killer instinct, no really aggressiveness. Bad penalties left and right.
Bosa going out of his mind didn't help either.
It did not. But, yeah, I mean, they're just a bad franchise. They need to nip this culture bugaboo that they have going on, and they need to do it quickly. And they need to realize they made a mistake with Brandon Staley. They need to realize that he can't coach. They got to realize that they have Justin Herbert, and to take the next step with Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert is.
You need to go get Sean Payton.
Yeah, Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback. I mean, he's the kind of quarterback you dream about having on in your franchise. And this coach is not doing him any favors right now at all. You know, and really the GM of this team needs to get. I think they need a new GM too. To be honest with you, I think that whole front office needs to be blown up. There is way too much talent on this team
But the coach, I mean, the fact that they're talented, doesn't that speak to the general manager?
Yeah, but the talent isn't winning, and he's not
Because the coach is an idiot.
Yeah, that's. But who hired the coach?
True.
Okay.
Look, I think Justin Herbert's the only reason that the Chargers aren't that buffoon doesn't go 4-12 every year.
I agree.
Staley.
I agree.
Herbert's that good.
He is that good, but it also didn't help that they didn't have Mike Williams either.
Yeah, because the dope got him hurt in a meaningless game. He fractured his back.
Yeah, I mean,
what the hell is wrong with you, dude? Then he gets asked about it, and he's like, "Well, who was I going to put in if I didn't put in Mike Williams?" Like, are you serious, bro?
Ask the Giants if they regretted losing to the Eagles because they had all their top players resting last week.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's your answer?
What a dummy! I mean, then take somebody off your practice squad to play. You didn't need the game. You
got no receivers.
Yeah, he's pathetic. I mean, I just don't get him at all.
MBD on YouTube. He's rooting tonight for whoever is going to take the most out of the San Francisco 49ers.
That would probably be the Cowboys, but
neither of these football teams are beating either.
I mean, the 49ers didn't play the Cowboys, but the Buccaneers did. If you recall, I believe the score of that game was 35-7 San Francisco.
Yeah, it was a rout.
Yeah,
it was one of Purdy's first games.
Yeah, and he just destroyed them. So I don't know that I don't know that either one of those teams are gonna. I think the only team right now in the NFL or the NFC for sure that could beat the 49ers is the Eagles, and I'm not so sure that they can do that. I'll tell you what,
after watching yesterday, Bengals struggled, can't block. Bills' defense isn't what it was a year ago. And Josh Allen I know we talked about it. I forget if it was on the air before the show. I mean, Allen throws a couple picks yesterday. Are they on him? Maybe, maybe not. He fumbled. Is that on him? Maybe, maybe not. But, I mean, he's got this propensity for turning the football over multiple times. You're not going to beat the Chiefs or the Bengals turning the ball over multiple times. So, I don't know.
Maybe the Bengals, but not the Chiefs.
So I look at San Francisco and Philadelphia. I think they're the two best teams in the league. That's 1 and 2 on my power rankings right now. Niners, Eagles.
Right now, that's
for the whole NFL.
I'll tell you what. If you take a look at Brock Purdy right now, he's playing at an unbelievably high level, and he seems to get better each week.
Shanahan's a hell of a coach.
He is. And if you look at it, at that game, I mean, the Seahawks came in and they actually took a 17-16 lead. And it's almost like the 49ers are like, oh, yeah? take that. And before you know it, they're up by 21. So.
Well, I mean, Seattle responded. Seattle went down 10 quick.
Yeah, they came back, and they actually took a quick lead, and then the 49ers responded big time, and they weren't able to even come close to matching that response.
That was all they had to go up 17-16.
Yeah, that was it.
Meanwhile, the Niners just keep coming at you.
Yeah, and the other thing with the 49ers is that they wear teams down with that running game. You know, and now they got Samuel back, which is very fortunate for them. So that makes them more than one-dimensional. And George Kittle is actually playing and not hurt. So that team, I don't think either Dallas or Tampa Bay is going to give them much of a battle, to be honest with you. I mean, can you imagine Dak Prescott with all the turnovers he's had this year? Can you imagine what's going to happen to him playing against that defense on the road?
Point being, MBD, to your comment, I don't think either of these teams playing tonight has a chance in hell to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Buccaneers defense gets a big sack there on third down. Dallas going to have to punt, give Brady the ball back. Neither offense is really clicking so far.
Yeah, this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think that's pretty obvious.
Boy, I would love to see them go home, Dallas.
I think almost everybody in the Philadelphia,
What's their
New York
excuse
area.
What's their excuse going to be if they spit the bit again?
Oh, they don't really have any excuses anymore. It's kind of they're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think that's what it's all about with that. I mean, honestly, I was, after watching the Giants for the last 10 years, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop yesterday, but it didn't.
It's different though in New York because they actually have, like, they don't have Wackadoo or Joe Judge. They actually have
Or Shermer.
He was awful as well. They actually have a guy that can lead men and build a culture and win football games.
And he knows what he's doing. For sure. And they, supposedly he, I can understand when they said that he, how much he helped Josh Allen. I could see it. You can see it with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones right now is playing on a very high level. And if he continues to play at this kind of a level, the Giants have themselves a franchise quarterback. Now they're going to have to pay him now, which is going to affect their cap every year. Kind of the same situation you guys are going to be in because you don't get a cheap quarterback right now. But if you have a franchise quarterback, you don't even really care at this point. It's worth every penny because they're so few and far between.
I'm not paying Jalen. I'm keeping a cheap quarterback for as long as I can. I'm not paying Jalen this offseason.
You going to franchise him?
No, it's his fourth year, right? Oh, he's not a first-round pick.
He's a second-round pick.
So I guess you have to pay him or franchise him.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay him.
The injury makes me nervous. If he didn't get injured, then give him a check. I don't care.
If you franchise him, you're going to pay him over $40 million. For sure.
That's stupid. You sign him long term, as opposed to the franchise tag.
Yeah, I was reading today that they're saying the market value of him right now is 42 160 is 42 million for 4 years. They're saying like around he should be around 165.
Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it because, like, he's played so well that, like, you have to do it. But, by God, does that number make me nervous?
Well, that number would make anybody nervous. I mean, that's a lot of money. And again, he's the way he plays the game, he's a high risk, he's a high injury risk type of quarterback. I mean, he's got a ton of ability. And when he's healthy, as you saw, he can be a dynamic quarterback. He's almost unstoppable. Even if you put a spy on him, he's so fast. It's just hard to cover him. And I think he's a lot like Michael Vick, but I think he's just a smarter quarterback than Michael Vick. Michael Vick had a better arm, but I think Jalen just was a little smarter.
No, so this is his third year. He's drafted in 2020.
All right, so
next year's his fourth year.
Fourth year, okay.
So they don't have to pay him. They don't have the franchise tag.
Okay, so not yet then.
So I'm 1,000% waiting. I mean, it's going to sound like a scumbag crumb move on my part, but sorry, Jalen, might have to see you do a little more for me. Look, we see it in baseball all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, these guys pop to get paid, and then that's the best season they've ever had, and they get paid off that season. So I need to see Jalen do some – at least give me 8 games next year where you don't get hurt and you're playing at a high level.
Well, I mean, you got 15 this year, which is fine.
15? What do you mean?
You got 15 games out of him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the last week of the season, if the game was meaningless to the Eagles, he wasn't going to play that game.
Yeah, it sucks that it was, and he had to play.
Right. I mean, it may have been a blessing.
I don't like
play,
giving guys exorbitant amount of money before I absolutely have to. And I know that's Howie's thing because he's a cap wizard and he identifies who he wants and he gets them more often than not at a good price.
But we'll see what happens with the Hurts camp. I mean, the question is going to be is he going to want to? I mean, if I'm him, I want a contract, and I might.
Yeah, he's going to want a contract.
And it's his option if he wants to hold out. He could. I mean, he could do whatever he wants in this situation. Now, the Eagles don't have to do anything they don't want to do either. So we'll see what happens. I tend to think that just based on his personality and the way he is, I don't see him being that kind of a player. I see him, just wanting to get paid more obviously this year than last year, and making a pretty good buck this year. But I don't see him looking this year for $35-40 million already. I can't see that happening. But we'll see. I mean, some of these guys do surprise you with the money that they're all just chasing the money. That
it's all about the money.
Of course it is, and we all understand that.
I don't care how good of a locker room guy you are, or leader you are. I'll never fault anyone for doing what they have to do to get their money.
No, especially football players, because their careers are the shortest careers in sports. So,
Brian Daly's on Facebook checking us out. We have the hockey happy hour with those gents tomorrow, 8:00.
And I'll be there.
Check it out. He agrees to the poll. Giants, I think, will hang around, but the Eagles aren't the Vikings.
No.
So that's kind of like the popular narrative. Like, the Eagles are way better than the Vikings. Yeah, the Giants won and they got their playoff game, but now you're playing the 1 seed and the Eagles, and
no,
the Eagles should win, which is true.
The game. Yeah, they should. And unless the Eagles throw the game away, they probably will win. I think the only way they lose is if they throw the game away. If they hand it to the Giants, if they do some stupid things. If somebody fumbles the ball like inside the 10-yard line, stupid things like that. A fumbled punt or something along those lines. If they do start doing stuff like that, then they could find themselves losing. But if they play their A game, as well as the Giants may play, I don't know that the Giants can beat them if they play their A game. We're talking about the Eagles. I'd love to see them do it, but it's going to be very, very hard for them to do that.
This Monday night football game is like watching paint dry right now.
Because you got two teams that are just.
I feel like each team's had the ball like 3 or 4 times each, and only 5 minutes has gone off the clock.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what's going on. It's ugly.
It's a good run there by Pollard.
Yeah, Pollard has definitely taken over the number 1 running back job in Dallas.
Frank the Tank Vesby, good evening. Double-digit win? Maybe, but I disagree with the poll. We'll be close. I think that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles better be ready for a dogfight.
Oh,
They're wrestling Ric Flair. They're wrestling Ric Flair and Eddie Guerrero on Saturday night. Meaning the low blows, the cheap shots, any type of gamesmanship that can be achieved.
Both teams are going to be.
It's going to be chippy.
It's going to be a mean game because that's how NFC East football is played. Okay, there's not going to be. There's going to be a lot of hurt feelings out there. So we'll see what happens.
But it's interesting because that's like the only thing. Which I'm kind of changing my mind on my answer to the poll question. Like, maybe they will just go out there and blow them out. There's not one aspect of – you look at the X and O's, except for Dable over Sirianni. Like, Jones isn't better than Hurts.
No.
You got us at running back. Barkley's better than our committee.
Yeah, but you got way better receivers.
We better receivers, better offensive line.
Close.
I would say better defensive line. I mean, this team almost set the.
I think the Giants linebackers are just as good as your linebackers. I think that's a pretty even. I think that's pretty even. I mean, don't forget one of our linebackers is a second team All Pro. So I mean, I think our linebackers are pretty much just as good. I think our safeties are probably just as good as well. But your defensive line is just is
Eagles have good corners.
Yeah, you have better corners than we do as well. We have one really, really, really good corner. Our other really good corner, Robinson, is out. He's not going to be playing the rest of the season. So, he's been out since week 4. So I mean, at this point, this is what you have. And do the Giants have some guys on their team that could start and play for Philadelphia? Yeah, they do. But I mean, it's not like 11-0 when you compare on both sides of the ball. But you know what? The bottom line here is, depth wise, especially, when the Eagles need to rest guys, they put other guys out there, and they're still very close to Pro Bowl level players. The Giants can't say that.
Joseph Horkowski, Eagles clearly the better team. Better team doesn't always win. Giants are gelling. Eagles got some question marks. Vegas sees the game as 7.5 Eagles. I don't have the same confidence. I think the Eagles win, but it's a close game. I think the line drops to 5.5 by Friday.
I think I don't know about 5.5. I could see 6.
If the line drops 2 points in 4 days, hang on to your hats. Move. Hang on to your hats, Philadelphia, because that would scream Giants to me. Scream Giants.
Well, when the line with Minnesota and the Giants was 3 points, what did that tell you? I mean, that's all.
See, I mean, you can't always go by that, but I thought that the money line in that game, it was like Vikings like minus 160 on a 3-point line, which was inflated, in my opinion. So to me, I'm reading that line as screaming Vikings all day. But it didn't work out like that.
Yeah, I just saw 3 points, and I'm saying to myself, so they think these two teams are even. Because basically, I'm talking about the line. I'm not talking about the money line. I'm talking about the point spread. Okay,
Dalton Schultz.
3 points is that's the usual when they have even teams. The home team usually gets spots 3 points. That's a typical line. I thought it would be 4.5, 5. So when it was 3, I'm saying to myself, obviously somebody put a lot of money on the Giants, and it could have just been because there's a lot, because there's a New York team in there. There's a lot of there's more New York money than Minnesota money. So maybe that was it. That may have been it, but still, I'm a little surprised it was so low.
See, now this is the Dallas. They finally get their shit together. They go right down the field. They get a touchdown to Dalton Schultz, and then their idiot kicker misses the extra point. That's why I bet Tampa tonight. Because of stuff like that. So now it's 6-0 instead of 7-0.
Yeah, and now they're going to be chasing the extra point all night.
I mean, Brady's got to step up and make some plays.
So does Mike Evans. Mike Evans needs to start being part of this game instead of being a spectator.
Frank McGranera. If the Cowboys win tonight, there will be 3 NFC teams left of the total of 8 remaining. The division is changing. The division's absolutely changing. And the division's changing because the Giants have all of a sudden become a well-run, competent organization where they haven't been in years.
And the Commanders are not far away.
What do you make of that? So they're telling their offensive coordinator, I guess they're keeping Rivera, which I don't agree with at all.
Yeah,
And
I don't agree with that either.
They fired Scott Turner, their offensive coordinator, and they're apparently they're telling the new people that Sam Howell's team. You need to, if you want to be our offensive coordinator, you need to make it work with Sam Howell. I think he's really talented. He was really talented at North Carolina.
Is he an NFL quarterback, you think?
I mean, he looked good against Dallas in week.
Yeah, that was at the
Week
end of the
18.
season, though. But there's, when there's no pressure, it doesn't count when there's no pressure, though, Rob. I mean, I hate to be rude about it, but when there's no pressure, you can't. It's only one game.
Well,
I mean,
I'm just telling you what.
no,
our
I know it.
like,
That's
they
what they're
like
saying. I know that they're saying that.
Well,
I read that
Heineke's
same
played
article.
out. Like, he's not the guy.
No,
And Wentz is a loser. He's definitely not the guy. He might not even be in the league next year.
no,
Like,
not with that contract.
He's kind of run out of chances, Carson has.
Yeah, or if he is in the league, I mean, he could be in the league as a backup, but his days of starting are over.
So they're going to build their roster up around Sam Howell, meaning they're not going to pick a quarterback in the draft. They're not going to sign a quarterback. And they're going to go with Sam Howell.
And I think that they need to draft an offensive lineman.
Matthew Walsh. Brandon Staley is a dingus. Brandon Staley is the worst.
Yeah, he's bad.
Sometimes I watch these guys. Like, how did some of these guys get jobs? Like, what do they say in this interview? Like, he must have looked like $1 million in the interview room, Brandon Staley.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
And then they go from looking like $1 million in the interview and looking like a total boob out there on the field. Like, how does that happen? How is there that much of a disconnect?
Let me ask you this. John Harbaugh last night, his clock management at the end of the game. What the hell was that all about? He blew 30 seconds on that last drive that the Ravens had. He blew 30 seconds by having them huddle up twice. They ended up having 2 timeouts at the end of the game. And then they were using them they ended up using them to check out the formations and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that should never happen. Because he wasted all that time, he made his team one-dimensional, and then they had to play a game that's not what their strength is, especially without Lamar Jackson.
And they had that miscue on the goal line, the sneak.
Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. That was disappointing because, as you know, I did pick the Ravens to win that division, and I thought that they were just a tougher team than Cincinnati, and they are, but their backup quarterback just isn't good enough, and especially since he's been injured, and that was the
I mean, that's
first
tough
time
to ask a backup. I mean,
I thought he played.
okay.
I thought he played okay, but I mean, he's not Lamar, and that's the problem. I mean, I can guarantee you, on third down and on the goal line, Lamar is not trying to run into the end zone with the ball trying to stick the ball out over the goal line. Lamar is flying into the end zone one way or another, or they give the ball to Dobbins. I don't understand what that was all about either. You got a guy like Dobbins who's impossible to tackle. Why on earth aren't you giving him the ball down low? A terrible job by their coach. Just awful. Harbaugh did not do a good job on that in that game yesterday.
Rosca, Sean Payton to the Chargers, that makes a lot of sense for everyone.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and I think that's the logical spot for him to go. And if Sean Payton has a chance to coach on that team, that if he gets Justin Herbert to coach after coaching Drew Bledsoe, he should count his blessings if that's the case. Maybe he goes to Green Bay, though. Who knows?
Who? Peyton?
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers stays.
They have the floor, no?
Do you think LaFleur was all that good this past year?
No, I think he's fairly average.
Yeah, I
don't think he's anything special as a head coach. No.
No. Well, if the Packers got a chance to get him, would they do it? I'm just wondering.
He's going to coach someone.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I don't think he's going to the Broncos. I don't think he's going to the Cardinals. I don't think he's going to the Colts.
He's going to go to a place that has a quarterback.
He's going to go to Dallas if they lose tonight. Who knows? He might coach Dallas next year.
Anyway,
regardless,
right,
of what happens with the Cowboys this year, or the Chargers. Well, if I could guarantee, I would call Sean Payton's agent right now. I would call the Saints. What do you want? If he's willing to come here, we'll give you whatever you want for him, and we'll fire our guy, and we'll have Sean Payton. The Chargers, they're in danger of being a laughingstock. They're in danger of becoming a Cowboys, Mets, Sixers, train wreck, poorly run, laughingstock organization. And they need to nip that in the bud ASAP. Sean Payton nips that in the bud quick.
He gives them instant credibility. And I think they need that.
Joseph Orkowski, Chargers have a stacked defense, top 6 quarterback, top 3 running back, and one of the best wide receivers in the league when healthy. It's a perfect situation for Sean Payton. It's perfect.
Another awful pass by Tom Brady, by the way.
Joseph Orkowski, it looks like he wants to win. Maybe he'll go on the Brady route and take $28 million a year. So Howie can continue to surround Hurts with weapons. So that's about the Jalen Hurts contract situation. Why on earth would Jalen Hurts take $28 million a year when the going rate is $40? You're asking him to leave. You're asking him to leave like $60 million on the table over a 5-year contract.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe longer than 5 years, so it's even more money.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I wouldn't even insult Jalen Hurts with that contract offer.
Yeah, you just have to wonder, would Jalen Hurts hold out? That's something you have to wonder.
Don 19, the Bills-Dolphins game was surprisingly good. It was surprisingly good.
Yes, it was. And that's what happens when you get division opponents facing each other.
Mike McDaniel earned my respect yesterday. I didn't know what to think about him. He was kind of a different kind of cat, always joking around, but he had his boys ready to play in a really tough spot with a third, not only a backup, but a third string quarterback.
I thought he made one big mistake yesterday, and that was 3rd and 19 on your own 5-yard line. You were almost asking for an interception, and he threw he threw one.
He threw it right, yeah.
I would have. I mean, I know this is conservative, and you have to be aggressive in the playoffs, but there comes a time when you have to, put your gun in the holster and wait for another opportunity, and that's kind of what really needed to happen, because that you can't let him lose the game for you like that. You just can't. I thought their quarterback played an okay game. He was okay considering the situation and everything. But I mean, the Bills outgained them by almost 300 yards yesterday. They just made far too many mistakes, and that really could have cost him. And by the way, Brady should have run the football. He could have gotten probably to the 10-yard line before he was even touched on that last play. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I mean, he threw it
goes
across
across
his
it.
body, across the field.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just check down city with Tampa Bay. They're so bad.
Fuck, they
They
can't.
really aren't good.
They can't protect the quarterback. It's just they don't have the only guy on the offensive line that they can actually block is Tristan Wirfs. The rest of them are terrible. But meanwhile, as we say that, they're they're knocking on the door right now.
You got to fire Ron Rivera after he starts Wentz in Week 17 and then says, "I didn't know we could be eliminated from playoff contention this week." Yeah, that was puzzling. That's a great shovel pass. Big
Look
hit.
at that! Wow,
Is that Curse number 6?
that was a nice play. Keith Godwin made the catch and gets to the 3-yard line.
Well, there's another check down. I mean, that's
a good play, though. I mean, Brady. They thought Brady was going to run. Number 27 just got completely faked out of his.
I mean, they're gonna have to open it up.
One.
They're gonna have to open it up here at some point. But yeah, Ron Rivera, he doesn't strike me as a great coach.
No, I've never been a big fan of his. I mean, he's a defensive-minded coach. I think in this day and age, you need an offensive coach, and you hire a good defensive coordinator. That's what most teams do. I mean, there are a few notable exceptions like Bill Belichick, but for the most part, most really good teams hire coaches who are good offensive coaches.
Matt Walsh. So Sean Payton interviewed with the Texans for the Texans head coaching job. I mean, if you think Sean Payton's going to coach the Houston Texans,
why would he do that? I think, yeah. Let's put it this way, okay? If Sean Payton wanted to be the Texans coach, he'd already have taken the job.
but they do have to work out a trade.
Yeah, I understand that, but the Saints and Texans are not in the playoffs. They could. Oh yeah, that's right. They can't trade. They can't make trades until the calendar season's over, right?
March 1st, March 15th.
Yeah, I think that's whenever the football calendar season is over, they can make the trades. But you probably would have an announcement. I mean, if he doesn't go to the Chargers, I'd be shocked. If the Chargers were stupid enough to not make a move. I mean, that coach, he's horrible. With all the talent they have, you and I were saying it last week, there's something always inherently wrong with the Chargers. They do stupid things all the time, and they always find a way to cost themselves a game. And they've had some very talented teams over the last 10, 15 years, yet they always find a way to lose.
Anthony Addis. Tom Brady looks like the old Tom Brady. I mean, not really.
Well, if you think that throwing the ball 5 yards down the field all the time, I think he used to throw the ball a little farther than that. I think he looks like old Tom Brady, not the old Tom Brady. Right now, but he does have them down in scoring in striking distance. With their, as we enter the second quarter, they're on the 4-yard line, 1st and goal.
They're going in at the 6-yard line.
Yeah, they're at the 5.
Oof.
Wow, that could have been
almost a turnover. Matthew Walsh. Chargers are apparently sticking with Staley. Very bad idea. I don't understand.
I don't understand that at all.
How does he even get hired?
Where
did he come from?
I don't know. It amazes me that they're that stupid.
They said they can't afford to fire him.
Oh, what a stupid pass.
Dude, he stinks. He stinks.
What did Tom Brady just do?
He should have just stayed retired and stayed married. Like, that's horrendous. What in
kind
the
of a
world was
pass
that?
That was unbelievable. Why would you do that? Why would you throw the ball like that? I mean, if it's not there, what happened? Whatever happened to throw the ball out of the end zone? He had nobody to throw the ball to. I think he's trying to throw the ball out of the end zone. And
what in the world? See, you can't squander opportunities like that in the playoffs.
no, and Tampa Bay's offense isn't good enough to get away with making stupid plays like that either. Wow. I mean, that's a remarkably stupid play.
So he was the defensive coordinator, Brandon Staley, for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Wait, why would you hire a defensive coach?
Yeah,
when you have Justin Herbert.
Well, you know what? If they don't make the move, then you know what? Then that's on them.
Anthony Adidas. It looked like one of his receivers stopped running his route. I mean, no, that was just a horrendous decision by Tom Brady that resulted in a turnover. That was all that was.
Nobody didn't run their route. They were all covered, and for some reason he thought if he just lobbed it back there, somebody could run under it. But the guys were too well covered. You know, you can't make passes like that in the end zone. You know, and Tampa Bay offensively is not good enough to be able to overcome mistakes like that. Looks like they're going to do a quarterback sneak, by the way, and they're just going to push Dak over. Nope.
Do a little toss play. I mean, if Dallas goes down and gets some points here, that's backbreaking.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay would be in big trouble.
Oh, man, Brady. Well, he's going to have to ramp it up next time he gets the ball. He's probably going to be down more than 6 points.
Yeah, I mean, you would think Dallas would have that would give Dallas a a little momentum and a little spark to be able to stop them like that. You know, not only do they not score a touchdown, they don't even get 3 points.
All right, Brad, let's do early leans. Way too early preview of the divisional playoff round. Obviously, we're still waiting on the result of this game for the Niners game, the 6:30 slot on Sunday. But this is early leans. Brought to you by Gleason's Bar and Grill, located 6700 Mill Creek Avenue in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Promo code A2D, 10% off. Dine in, take out, online, doesn't matter. Gleason's Bar and Steaks.com. So, Brad, this used to be the best football weekend of the year. Back when it was 6 teams and the 2 teams were in each conference were waiting around for their matchup. Now it's just one bye week.
Right.
I like that a lot better.
Yeah, I do too. I think this whole thing with all the extra teams in the playoffs, I don't like it. You know, you're playing 17 games now, which to me is a lot for these guys. You know, you're going to shorten some careers doing this, and you know, I know it. I mean, it's a money grab. They want the extra games, and to have a standalone game on a Monday night this time of the year, that's clearly a disadvantage for the Cowboys and Tampa Bay. There's no question about that. They're not going to have as much time to prepare as they would have if they played Saturday or Sunday. So I mean, I don't like it at all.
That's a good point. I didn't even really think about that. Obviously, you're not going to run them out there on Saturday.
No, but still, the whole point is that they shouldn't be playing on Monday night. Monday night's over. Monday night is for the regular season, not the postseason. I don't think they're doing anybody any favors by doing that. They just want to have a standalone game. They figure everybody's coming home from work, and they get it. And they'll have a football game to watch tonight. And it's all about the money.
Part. I like that part of it. Big third down here. Tampa's got to get a stop.
Yeah, they can't let Dallas start marching down the field now.
Come on, Tampa. Wide open.
Oh, jeez.
Wide open.
Come on.
They stink. They really do. I can't believe Brady. I can believe Brady threw that pick because he's just washed. And I don't know what it is because it looks like he has arm strength. But I don't know. His decision making and his accuracy's been off.
Well, that play was just decision making. I mean, he should have just thrown the ball, air-railed it out of the end zone. Oh, look at this. There's nobody even there. He's going to end up getting all the way to the 5-yard line. Oh my God.
Let me get the lines up here. All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about the matchups next weekend. 3 of the 4 set in stone. Brad, the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the biggest comebacks in postseason history on Saturday. Obviously aided by incompetency of the Los Angeles Chargers, but they're getting 8.5. They're going to Arrowhead. What do you think?
I think they're going to get smoked.
I think they're going to get smoked too.
Listen. They have a good defense. We know that. Good. There's a holding penalty against Dallas. That'll slow them down a little bit. They're going to get smoked. Jacksonville has a good defense. We know that. But Kansas City is really good offensively, and I don't think Trevor Lawrence and company are going to be able to put a lot of points on the board against that defense. I know they don't have I know Kansas City's defense is not a great defense, but it's good enough to keep them in check. And Kansas City is not going to. If you get behind Kansas City by 27 points, they'll beat you by 55. Okay, they're not San Diego. Excuse me, they're not the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, they're not gonna blow a big lead. So if you have to play the Chiefs on the road, don't get behind. If anything happens like that again, it's not going to be a close game. And I just have a feeling that they're going to be up against it. I don't think they're going to be able to handle the Chiefs. And we all know how good the Chiefs are at home too. Pollard.
Another running play for Pollard
at the 6.
So Jaguars, Chiefs. Over-under is 51.5. Like, the Jaguars are going to have to play even more perfect than the Giants are going to have to play to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead.
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very tough for them.
So I'm laying
impossible.
I'm laying the 8.5. I'm laying the 8.5 all day.
I would too. I think it's going to be a slaughter. Oh, look at this! Come on. Oh, they stopped him at the 2. No, he stopped at the 2.
Jags and Chiefs will be a close game. Is that wishful thinking because everyone here loves Doug? The Jaguars aren't good.
No, they're really not.
Jacksonville, Joseph Murkowski. Jacksonville is going to get smoked. You see it all the time. Team has a big, lucky, emotional win. Next week, they come out completely flat, empty, and tank. That's a good point.
Look at this. Look at this. Goal line stand by Tampa Bay. Wow.
Hopefully they go for it.
And don't get it.
Go for it, you dope. Look, they're going for it. They're going for it.
Oh, they're definitely going to go for it. He was
He's got
stacked
swallowed
up.
up. This might be the play of the game right here.
Yeah. See, I would go for the field goal and get the 2-score lead. But I'm probably wrong, and they'll probably get a touchdown. So we'll see.
Great play.
Oh, nice call. Nice call. Okay. Well, I was wrong. That's why I'm not a coach. Now, are they going to go for 2? Which would really be dumb at this point.
No, I wouldn't go for 2. Don't chase the point.
Yeah, only chase the point if you have to. So I'm one of those people. Don't go for a 2-point conversion unless it's either late in the third quarter or the fourth quarter.
We touched on the Giants game. 7.5 points the Giants are getting
I
on
take
Saturday night.
I take the 7.5 points.
He missed again.
Or maybe they should have gone for 2. And
He missed again.
Guess who's going to have a new kicker next week?
Who's their kicker?
I don't know. But 2
I
in a
still
row.
can't believe he threw that pick. 7.5. So
Yeah, I'd be all over the Giants with the 7.5. I think the Giants are going to keep it close.
and then the only other game that we have, the Bengals are going to Buffalo. So they're finally going to play this time. And the Bengals are getting 5 points. I'm all over Cincy here.
5, that's too many also.
I think, Bern Maher is the kicker. Is it a coincidence that the teams that looked best this weekend, Giants and San Francisco, had good run-pass balance on offense? No, I mean, that's what this league's about.
It's not a coincidence, and that's a good catch, by the way. That's how you win football games.
Joseph Orkowski, Eagles by 4. Yeah, Brent Maher is the kicker for now. He might be getting cut at halftime.
Yeah, wow. They'll definitely
now, come on, Tom. You got to put something together. And
you just got extremely lucky that they've left 2 points on the table. So it's time for them to get things moving. And what a terrible mistake, by the way. You can't do that.
If the Giants play like that, hold on, Anthony, I love you, but so much has to happen for the Giants to win this football game on Saturday night. It's going to take more than the Giants playing as good as they did against the Minnesota Vikings, because the Eagles are way better than Minnesota. It's going to take a better performance than they had against the Giants or against the Vikings, and the Eagles help by not playing well or turnovers, or maybe Jalen's not healthy. I don't see it. A lot of things have to happen for the Giants to win this football game outright. I'm not laying 7.5. Don't get me wrong. This is a division game, and the Giants are well coached, and they're going to be ready to go. So I'm not laying 7.5, but to say all the Giants have to do is play as good as they did against Minnesota, and they're going to win, that's foolish. And that's just not. There's literally no. There's no.
If you're talking about playing defensively, maybe. I mean, Minnesota's got a very good offense, and they've got some real good offensive players. So if they can hold Philadelphia to around 20 to 24 points, I guess they have a shot. But I don't think they're going to score 30 against the Eagles. I don't see that at all. That's going to be the problem. How much can they score against the Eagles?
Where are the Giants? Anthony, you can chime in on this too, since you think the Giants are this great team because they beat a very flawed Minnesota Vikings team. Where are the Giants better than? Where is their advantage? Where are the Giants going to hurt the Eagles from an X and O standpoint?
I think they could run against them.
I mean, okay, I mean, no one's really run against the Eagles since they signed Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, but had they really played against anybody who's capable of doing it though? Not really. I mean, the Cowboys kind of ran against them.
And then they're like, then everybody wants to. I know Jonathan Gannon. I know he's not Jim Johnson. He doesn't blitz the house every play and isn't as aggressive as Jim Johnson. Like, you got to get over it. This guy's a good coordinator who's leading a very good unit. Eagles defense is very strong. They have great personnel, but all great teams do. You know, what are they, one sack away from having the all-time record? Beating the 84 Bears is an all-time record for sacks in a season.
Well, they also played more games.
4 guys with 10 double-digit sacks. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the NFL. So I get it.
By accident.
So I get it. Everyone hates Jonathan Gannon. Everybody wants him to get a head coaching job, and they want him out of town because he's not Jim Johnson. Like, get over it. This guy's a really good coordinator, and I don't agree with you that the Eagles' defense is not good. The Eagles' defense is very aggressive. They just don't get their pressure
because they don't
bringing extra guys. They don't. He doesn't blitz. Gannon doesn't blitz,
but he doesn't need to blitz.
Not when the front four is getting 50 sacks a year.
Yeah, when the front four gets home, I mean, there's no reason. The only reason you blitz is because your front four isn't getting enough pressure. You know, or if you have the Giants' defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, they blitz and they come from all over the place, but they have to because their defensive line is just okay. It's not great. Their strength is Dexter Lawrence. You know, coming in and also the big cat coming in and making plays. So Leonard Williams. So you know that's where they get their pressure from. So they do blitz. They have to. But the Eagles don't have to blitz. And remember, when you blitz, you're leaving less guys in the secondary, and somebody's going to be one-on-one. And with the Eagles, with their targets, you know, that's, you know, the Eagles have some pretty good targets to throw to, so you don't really want to do that either.
See, look, this just drives me nuts. Tom Brady, he's out on the field freaking out because he short-armed the seam route and couldn't connect. I think it was one of their tight ends. And then they throw a bubble screen on 3rd and 13. It's 3rd and 13.
Yeah. Why are you throwing a bubble screen on?
Yeah, at least throw the ball 10 yards down the field.
Yeah.
So this is danger time here for
Tampa Bay.
For Tampa.
It's gut check time. Yeah, their defense is going to have to make a play now.
MBD, Minnesota passed 40 times, ran 15 times. It's simple, not the recipe for success, regardless of personnel.
Well, they also have Dalvin Cook, which makes it even more strange. Dalvin Cook was extremely effective yesterday. He running the football. I don't understand why they got away from that. When they started passing on every play, Kirk Cousins is the kind of guy you want him to pass on every play because he eventually screws up because that's just who he is. There's a reason why Kirk Cousins never wins big games and never wins playoff games. And you know, you saw it yesterday. And that's not to say the Giant defense didn't play well, especially in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I'll give the Giants full credit for everything they did yesterday. But again, you know, this is a different cat the Giants are going to be playing. It's not like they're playing Minnesota, okay, where they can just be physically, I guess, superior to them. I mean, that's kind of what the Giants pushed them around yesterday. big time. The offensive line pushed around their defense all day yesterday. They're not going to push the Eagles around. Okay, the Eagles most likely are going to be the ones pushing the Giants around. So that's going to be something that you have to watch and hope that the Giants cannot allow that to happen. If it does happen, they're doomed. They have no shot if they can start getting pushed around, and the Eagles are just pushing them back and changing the line of scrimmage on every play.
I think the start of the
can't
game
happen.
is going to be
Well,
really
the Giants cannot afford to get behind like 17-0 in the middle of the second quarter.
like if the Giants could score first,
Well, that's going to be the key. If
touchdowns.
they could score first and get a lead, and get the fans starting to get on their team, then we'll see what happens. Because then they have a shot. But that's really what the Giants need to do. They need to score first. They need to jump all over them, outplay them in the first quarter, get the fans on the Eagles' backs a little bit, and then we'll see how the Eagles react.
If I win the flip on Saturday night, if I'm the Giants, I'm taking the ball.
No, they won't do that. They did that. They should do it, and I've been telling you I like them doing it, but they won't do that. I mean, they took the flip yesterday against the Vikings and gave the Vikings the ball, and the Vikings marched right down the field on them.
I would really be trying to score a touchdown right off the bat on the Giants. Because if the Eagles come out and get going early and Lane looks good and Jalen looks good and they're running and they look like the juggernaut that beat the Giants a couple of weeks ago, 48-22.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Keep in mind the Giants didn't have 4 key players on defense.
No, I think both teams are very, very different, but it's in there for the Eagles to be a juggernaut.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean that again, they were, the record speaks for itself. They were 12-1 with Jalen Hurts in the lineup. So I mean, there's no ifs, or was it 13-1? Was it 13-1 or 12-1? 13-1, I think. So, I mean, there it is. That it's there in black and white. So, or 14-1, something like that. So, there's no way you can get around what this team is, and then you're playing them at home. But I think it might be a good thing that the Giants are playing them at home because, as I said, if the Giants can get ahead of them, Eagle fans are pretty rough. If they start getting on their team and start and the boo birds start coming out, which is what the Giants are going to need to do, maybe the Eagles get rattled and the Giants can build themselves up a lead, and because that's what they're going to have to do against this team. Because this team is just they're physically right now they're better than them physically, so this is what's going to have to happen.
Anthony Addies, Giants will beat the Eagles because besides the D-line, the Giants dink and dunk the ball and pick up small yardages. Eagles secondary is soft. Slay hasn't played good in the last 3 games. Also, to the corners and the linebackers play 5 to 10 yards back. I don't know what to tell you about this defense. I know you don't like it because it's not a Jim Johnson defense. I get it. Brian Dawkins doesn't play safety anymore. I get it. And that's what the fans want. But secondary is soft. Slay hasn't played good. First off, who cares? Who cares if Darius Slay didn't play good last week against the Giants? I don't understand how he can't play good against the Saints when they only let up 13. What was it? 13 points, 10 points as a unit. And then Dallas, they got touched up a little bit because Dallas has a lot of playmakers. They just never come up big. So look, I don't understand what people want from this defense. I don't get it. I get it. Jonathan Gannon, everybody hates him. Everybody hates him because he's not Jim Johnson. Okay. that's the stance you want to take. This is a very good unit. It's a very well coached unit. It's aggressive. It forces turnovers. It gets after the quarterback. The additions of Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh have really shored up their run defense. So, I don't know. What do you want to shut out every week? I don't get it.
Maybe they
don't
see
get it.
maybe they see that their defense isn't quite as good as San Francisco's and they panic. But I think their defense is certainly pretty good. And you can't sit here and say that their defense is bad. I mean, they have a good defense. I mean, there's no question how good their defense is. So I don't get the criticism at all. Okay, as I said, the only team in the NFL that has given up less points than the Eagles is San Francisco. So, that's. I think those complaints are should be falling on deaf ears because that's really not the case. Look, the Giants are going to have to go in, and let's be honest, this is not the 2007 Giants. Okay, it's not. They don't have Plaxico Burress. They don't have Amani Toomer, and this isn't 2012 either. They don't have Nix. They don't have Manningham. Okay, there is no Michael Strahan on this team. So let's understand. Okay, this isn't the same team. This is a young team that, for most of these guys, are making their first playoff appearance and got a great win last week. We'll see how they come out this week because it's going to be a different case. And as some of the other guys have mentioned already, teams like the Giants, Jacksonville, they could come out still being happy from winning their first game and find themselves down 10-0, 17-0 before they know what hits them if they don't come out real sharp and put their foot down right away. So it's going to be that first quarter is going to be huge. Giants cannot afford to get down double digits in the first quarter. If that happens, then it's going to be almost impossible for them to come back. They don't have a quick strike offense. They're a methodical team that drives the ball down the field. They like their 6, 7, 8 minute drives. They like to run the ball. They don't have they have good receivers, but they don't have good receivers that can burn you and get all the way down the field in one shot for an 80-yard touchdown pass. They don't have that receiver on the team, at least not this year. So again, it's going to be tough. We'll see what the Eagles do. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles put 8 guys in the box and challenge Daniel Jones to throw the ball. I know he had a really good game last week, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them do that. Try to stop Daniel Jones from running. Try to stop Saquon Barkley from running.
Yeah, Anthony, I get it. You don't think the Eagles' defense is bad, but everybody nitpicks this unit. Everyone nitpicks this coach. And, they're a really good unit. And Jonathan Gannon, if he does get a head coaching job, that's a loss. That's a loss for this franchise. I'm not against him advancing his career and getting a head coaching job, especially with that money that those guys make. But that creates a void as defensive coordinator. And
the Giants are going to have the same problem, Rob, because I've heard that their offensive coordinator Kafka and their defensive coordinator Martindale are both going to be getting interviews. So,
former Eagles great Mike Kafka.
Yeah, well, they're good. Listen, Mike Kafka has been a very good offensive coordinator for the Giants. He's the play caller, and he's been pretty darn good for the Giants.
Smart from Northwestern.
Yep, and Wick Martindale, he coached he as a defensive coordinator for the Ravens all those years, and they let him go after last year when the whole team was hurt.
He strikes me as a defensive coordinator, though.
He is it. Yeah, I think he is, but he's never had a chance to be a head coach. Who knows?
True.
who knows? But if he gets a job like that, he's going to have to get himself a real good offensive coordinator. Like maybe Cliff Kingsbury would be a good offensive coordinator, not a good head coach. Not everybody can be a head coach.
I just threw up a little bit in my mouth. There's Dak going to run for a first down.
Well,
this is getting ugly. This is getting ugly.
Well, I mean, listen, Tampa Bay was under 500 this year. Okay, so if Dallas wins a playoff game against an under 500 team, then they were lucky. They happened to get the luck of the draw.
I said it earlier. I don't see either of these teams beating San Francisco. I don't see any of these teams even keeping it.
I see that either one of these teams barely being competitive with them.
I mean, Dallas is more talented. I don't think anyone can dispute
no question.
that. So.
No question. But I mean, Dak is going to be running for his life that whole game. San Francisco's defense is no joke. They're really tough, and they can be just as physical as the Cowboys.
Now it's interesting because how close does Dallas have to get for them to trust this kicker who has 2 extra points missed?
Yeah, well, that's always a problem when that happens. And he missed that second extra point wasn't close, by the way.
Ryan Swoops in the house. The Eagles defense outside of the sacks as far as stopping. The pass on third down is their biggest issue. If they would keep pressuring, even if they don't get sacks, it would help the secondary. I mean, whether the Eagles get pressure or not is up to the front four. Yeah, they mix in a blitz here and there, and they do different things with Hassan Reddick. There's another completion for Prescott. This is like, look at the middle of the field. It's wide open.
Yeah, they're taking advantage of it.
Another slant. This is getting ugly here on Monday Night Football. I mean, yeah, Ryan. I mean, the front, whatever, 4 or 5 have to get to the quarterback for this team to have pressure. And by the way, James Bradbury and Darius Slay are excellent cover corners, both having fantastic seasons. So even if they don't get home, they're 2 of the better cover corners in the league, so you're going to be okay. The Eagles have been much better against the run only because of the pressure has enabled the run defense to be better. When we're not getting sacks, it allows there to be players to stop the run. Well, they signed Linval Joseph, who's a load. He's like 330 pounds, eats blockers. And you signed Ndamukong Suh, who's helped. There's another touchdown for Dalton Schultz.
And it is now 18-0.
This continues to get super ugly.
We're gonna have a second half comeback I don't see a second half comeback.
I don't think Brady's capable of it.
I just don't think he can do it anymore.
I hope because he's setting himself up to be one of these guys that holds on for too long and diminishes his legacy.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Did he just miss again? Dude, this guy's got the yips. This guy's got total yips, this kicker. 3 extra points in the first half, 3 extra points missed.
Yeah, that's equivalent to
Why? What is Linval Joseph? What's he weigh? MBD 329. I'm looking it up right now.
He's a large man. He's a load for sure.
Former Giants draft pick in the second round.
Yep, I remember him well. But you can't. They couldn't afford him.
He's 6'4", 323. So okay, you got me. He's not 330 pounds, but he's
Close enough.
he's a ginormous individual that just eats blocks. Tampa's defensive coordinator will be fired. Todd Bowles just ain't it as a head coach. And I like Todd Bowles. He went to Temple, spent some time here in Philadelphia, but he can't get it done as a head coach.
No. Todd Bowles couldn't get it done with the Jets either. I mean, he's had two chances to be a head coach, and he failed miserably both times. So
Who else? He coached someone else too, didn't he?
as a head coach,
I think so, right? Didn't he coach the Cardinals?
I don't think he coached the Cardinals. I think he was a defensive coordinator wasn't he a defensive coordinator for a while with the Chargers and with the Chargers?
Well, he's good at that. I would hire him to be my defensive coordinator.
Yeah, no, that's his strength. He's just not a, it's like Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips was a really good defensive coordinator, but he was not a good coach. There's a lot of guys like that.
He's Tampa Bay's head coach, New York Jets head coach, defensive coordinator in Arizona.
That was Arizona, okay.
Then he has secondary coach, Philly, interim defensive coordinator, Philly.
Okay. Didn't know he was with Philly.
Yeah, we drafted him too, I think. Nobody drafted him, but he was undrafted, but
Did he play for you guys?
I thought he did. He won a Super Bowl. He was on Washington. I'm sorry, not the Eagles.
Okay.
He won a Super Bowl when the Redskins beat the Broncos 42-10. He was on that team.
Okay, got it.
So this guy's got the yips. Can they make him pay? Can they do something here, please? Tampa?
When you miss this many extra points, 3 missed extra points. That's unbelievable. Come on, Brady, do something. There you go. At least we got a complete pass here.
But cool.
But there's 17 seconds
check
to go.
Down screen with 17 seconds left, playing right in Dallas's hands.
Can we see a Josh Allen pass?
The Josh Allen pass?
When Josh Allen has 25 seconds to go before halftime or at the end of the game, he always gets the field goal.
He drops back and he wings the ball down the seam with his arm strength.
Yeah, to Stephon Diggs or Davis or one of the other guys.
If the Saints find a QB, they should win the NFC South next year. I mean, you're probably right. Derek Carr, that makes a lot of sense. Carr to New Orleans.
Yeah, I think he'd do pretty well there, actually. Because they have a good defense.
And
Derek Carr has never played on a team with a good defense. That's part of the problem.
Is anybody going to trade for this guy, though? Why would you trade for him?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be
he's not playing for the Raiders.
No. Definitely not.
So why would I trade for him when you're just going to have to release him?
All right, so they call timeout. Where's the ball? On the 50-yard line? Can Brady even reach the end zone?
Nah, he can still sling it. He still has a strong arm.
No, I know. I understand that, but can he still throw that far? That's the question. I mean, still a 50-yard pass is a long pass. Now, I'm surprised Dallas is playing that they think they're going to try for a quick
Yeah,
And
they're
they
going
put
to
it-
try and boot one. Look, they're not going to throw a Hail Mary here.
6 seconds. Doesn't the normal play usually take around 6 seconds?
What's the live odds? MBD, ESPN currently showing Dallas likelihood of winning the game at 94%, almost 95%. We already had one crazy comeback in this Super Bowl. Wow, can we make it two?
Well, now that
He
giving
just
them a
missed them
chance.
by a mile.
Oh,
They
Brady.
got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing?
What is going on with him?
He just missed Mike Evans by a mile. They got
Yeah.
exactly what they wanted.
Yeah,
He's
they
gonna
gave
catch
him.
the ball at
they
the
gave him
40-yard line and go right out of bounds. And you
Yeah.
try a 56, 57-yard field goal. Now he's going to get sacked. What a disaster. Do you think he knows he's shot?
No, I don't think he realizes it. Uh-oh. Look at this.
Who's that, Parsons?
Yeah, oh boy.
And the worm turns.
Ruh-roh.
Is that the beginning? Is that an omen of things to come?
Well, the Cowboys played a perfect first half, other than their kicker being completely incompetent.
6-1 on the money line.
Well, I wouldn't put any money on Tampa Bay because the way Brady looks terrible.
I had a free bet. I had a free $5, so I put it on Tampa Bay money line. Matthew Walsh. I haven't read this. Sixers owner Joshua Harris is apparently emerging as a top candidate to purchase the Washington Commanders, should Dan Snyder decide to sell.
Which he will.
I mean, okay, doesn't he own the Devils too? Isn't he part of a group that owns the Devils too?
Is he? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm not really that thrilled with the Sixers organization as a whole. I haven't been for years. So I wish he would just, buckle down and try and get it right here with the Sixers instead of buying all these franchises, treating them like assets and trying to make up whatever. Go buy the Commanders. Whatever.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Rob, do you think Ryan Swoop? Rob, do you think the Eagles? Do you think the Birds' offensive play calling gets away from running the ball, running with the running back when it's going well, or doesn't use it throughout the fire game? The same with the D when it comes to pressure. The offensive play calling. The problem, because they rely on Jalen to make the right decision on the RPOs and the RPRs. So if he's making decisions that aren't, it's tough because you don't know. I'd be interested to talk to a coach or a player that comes from an RPO scheme like the Eagles are running. I want to know how much Jalen dictates the play.
I think he probably 95% dictates the play.
I would think, right?
I mean, because he's the one that he's reading the defense, correct?
Because you're not going to give him an option and then force him to play it one way or the other. You're going to trust him to look at it and make the right decision, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he looks like he doesn't have if he's starting to run the ball, if he looks like he has an opening, he'll keep the ball and just take off. If he doesn't see an opening, he's going to hand it off.
And Ryan, Nick gets throw happy. He does. Nick wants to huck it around the field. Nick was a receiver. Nick wants to throw the ball. Nick has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith along with Dallas Goedert. I think Steichen is the voice of reason and the voice of balance into why this team has run the ball so successfully over the past couple of seasons here. Nick wants to throw. Make no mistakes about it. So if it starts going bad, Nick's gonna go with what he wants to do, and that's throw the football.
If Hurts throws the ball 40 times, the Eagles could be in trouble. I don't think you want him throwing the ball more than like 30 times. I think if he throws the ball 30 times and runs the ball 30 times, I think that's got to be their formula.
Sixers are doing good. Are they, though, Anthony? Are the Sixers doing good? Have you seen anything to suggest that they're going to get out of the second round? I haven't. Joe's incredible. Harden's doing pretty good. Maxi's terrific offensively. He can't guard me or you. Hurts the team. And I hate this bench. I hate that they haven't moved on from Thibault yet. Melton's okay. Like, can they beat Milwaukee in a 7-game series? No.
I don't think they could beat Boston in a 7-game series.
Can they beat Boston in a 7-game series? No. It's not happening. So, yeah, this is what they do every year. They look promising, and then they're not going to get out of the second round, and we're all going to wonder what happened. Ryan Swoop, you see them not run it with the running back at all in one half, and then they'll do it a lot in the next half. Yeah, I think like that's all on Jalen about what he sees in the defense and what option he wants to take. Yeah, Ryan, that's why they went on a big winning streak when Maxey was out, which sounds weird to say because Maxey's a really good player and a really promising player, but D'Anthony Melton is a way better defender. And they had more success defending the perimeter with Maxey out than Maxey in there. You know, they gave up 137 to Oklahoma City the other night. Like, are you kidding me? Every time the Sixers play a big-time guard, he goes for 40. Just mark it down. Brown, Tatum, Shea Alexander. Like,
Speaking
whoever.
of Tatum, 51 points today, by the way.
On Martin Luther King Day. That's a fun tradition they have in the NBA, playing on Martin Luther King.
Yeah, I like it.
Warriors Celtics NBA Finals again. I'll tell you what, this Pelicans team with Zion healthy,
they're pretty good now.
They're pretty good. And the West is wide open. The East is wide open.
Look, the Warriors have had their day in the sun, but you wonder if they're just starting to get a little old now.
Who, the Warriors?
Yeah.
Well, they just got Steph back. He was out.
Yeah, that'll help.
So,
I mean, they're not going to miss the playoffs. You know that.
I've never heard that stat when Thibault plays 20-plus minutes. They are 10-0. He's another whipping boy. You don't want to play him. If you don't want to play him, trade him. He should play. He's not Larry Bird. All right? I get it.
Yeah, but who is?
He can defend the perimeter. The Sixers haven't defended the perimeter since 2019. They get roasted by every guard in the league. Roast this team. Ryan Swoop, yeah, they don't know how to use their bench. When everyone's healthy. When players are injured, the bench guys will perform. But once the starters and no more injuries, they're bad at using the bench. That's because Doc Rivers stinks as a head coach. stinks. It's another reason they won't get out of the second round. Because
you guys don't like him too much, huh?
Brady's not good.
By the way, I just wanted to get your opinion on Jalen Brunson, Rob.
He's having a good season.
I think he's worth every penny that they're paying him.
Right now, yeah. And Quentin Grimes has really emerged for your Knicks.
Yep, he's done
as well.
This is the first time since they had Marbury that they had a point guard who can score and do all the little things. He's not a great defender, but Grimes is. And then they have Big Mitch Robinson in the middle, who's a good rim guard presence. But I think they still have a little ways to go. They really if they're gonna get there, they need like Cat. That would be a guy that could definitely get them where they want to go.
Nah, you need a guard.
Well, they've got guards.
Perimeter guy. But Brad, you win in the NBA by scoring on the perimeter and defending the perimeter. That's how you win basketball in 2023.
Well, they have that, but what they don't have is they don't have enough of them. I mean, Quickly can shoot from the outside. Grimes can shoot from the outside.
Look at the Celtics.
Yeah, but
Celtics have hockey lines. They have Brown and Tatum and Marcus Smart and Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, no, they've got
all these guys.
Yeah, they've got 5 or 6 guys like that. The Knicks only have 3. You know, RJ Barrett is only shooting 30% from 3. That's not good enough. Really, the guys
I thought he was gonna. Well, he's the disappointment, right?
Yeah, somewhat. So he hasn't been bad. He just hasn't raised his level this year, and they were expecting him to raise his level of play. Quickly can shoot from the outside. We know that. Brunson can shoot from the outside. Grimes can shoot from the outside. But unfortunately, right now, RJ is not getting the job done from outside. Julius Randle has been nothing short of sensational. Yesterday, 40 points, 15 rebounds. First Knick to do that since 1996 by, the king of the Knicks, Patrick Ewing.
Is that right? No one since then?
Not since 1996 has somebody on the Knicks gone 40 and 15.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess that shows how bad they've been.
Yeah, they listen. They have not had a big guy who could score and rebound like Randall in a long time. And Randall, by the way, is back. He's playing some great basketball again. So at least it looks like the Knicks are going to make the playoffs again, but they're probably not going to go anywhere. And Mitchell, by the way, got injured today. I'm not sure exactly. I saw that he was something happened to him today.
Knicks currently in the 6th seed, so obviously the top 6 is huge for you.
Yeah, they don't want to be in the play-ins. Yeah, and they don't, and they definitely don't. Whatever happens, Toronto is one team they don't want to play because it seems like Toronto just beats them like a drum. I think they lost 3 out of 4 this year to Toronto. And today,
I'm looking at the teams.
A 10-point lead in the 4th quarter, and they lose the game on a buzzer beater in overtime.
So you have Boston, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Cleveland.
Right.
They're good basketball teams.
They're all good.
And then you have the Heat aren't much. The Pacers aren't much. Maybe the Hawks can get it together down there. The Bulls aren't good. Toronto's not good. Washington's not good.
Washington, I think Beal's been out. Hasn't Beal been out?
Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
He's always out.
He's always getting hurt.
So you could be in there as the 6th seed very easily.
Yeah, but what chance do they have? If they have to play the Celtics or Milwaukee or Philly, what chance do they have to beat any of those teams? Really?
Yeah, but you still playoffs is always. I say it all the time. Playoffs is better than no playoffs.
I
Always.
understand. No. I definitely understand that. And you want to see them get to the playoffs, and you want to see how they stack up and what they have to do to get to the next level. I mean, that's kind of what the losing playoff game, when you lose playoff games, that's kind of what it's about, when you're not expecting to win a championship but expected to at least get to the first round of the playoffs. You want to see exactly what it takes, what you need to do to compete with these other teams, where you're getting beat. I think that's probably what they're looking at. But they do have, I think, 7 or 8 draft picks in the next 4 years, first round picks. So I mean, they got a ton of draft picks.
Well, this is not the year. This is not the year to have a high draft pick.
No, they're not.
No.
Well, I think they have 2 this year.
Push them down the road, or maybe you can get lucky and recruit somebody, get a diamond in the rough. But there's no real obvious prodigy. Brady just missed another slant by a country mile.
Yeah, Brady he looks lost. Now he's wagging his finger. I mean, you can admit it's your fault every time, Tom, but you know what? It's not. Oh, that looked like it hurt. Parsons looks like, oof.
Don, last comment of the night before we get out of here. Don 19, just Georgia 3-peat and become the next dynasty.
I have no idea how their recruiting class is.
Probably studs. No, because USC is going to win next year.
It's hard to do that 3 years in a row in college. That's hard because you're always having guys graduate. They're going to have a new quarterback next year too, right?
Yeah, I mean Bennett. He's done. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's 25 years old. He either goes to the NFL or he can get a real job, I guess.
All right.
So.
Swoop. USC goes to the Big Ten not next year, the year after, I think.
They're going to go to the Big Ten?
Yeah, USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten.
Oh, great. So, why is Rutgers still? I didn't even know that. You know what? Poor Rutgers. Now they got those 2 teams they have to contend with. Why are they in the Big Ten? Can't they just go back to the Atlantic?
I don't know.
The Atlantic Coast Conference. I mean, why can't they just go there? And
Well, they did it to bolster their Western Division. The Western Division was getting their brains beat in the conference championship game every year.
Well, but all they have to do is realign their divisions. I mean, they could put everybody anywhere they want.
Well, they decided to sign up UCLA and USC instead.
Wonderful. That's just great.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Sports Hounds. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.